a healthy egg. And that's why IVF or egg freezing will include injecting that hormone that's called FSH, follicle gonal-F and others. Next slide. We can see that the H factor plays a significant role here, and we can see that this is without the introduction of endometriosis in the general population, showing us the chance of getting pregnant. And we see that the chance of getting pregnant with a woman's own egg at age 45 is already less than 3%. This is without any hormone. This is just Frank Sinatra and a glass of wine. So we can see that at age 30 there's already a drop, and every 2-3 years you see a significant drop there. So by age 40 it's already less than 10%. So this is why we need to act on this earlier on, especially in lieu of endometriosis diagnosis. Next slide. This is really a slide that's showing the correlation between high responders and normal responders and reduced response. You can see enteral follicle count, AFC and AMH have a nice correlation. The higher the AMH, the higher the enteral follicle count, the more eggs that we'll be able to obtain. And we decide, you can see that there are different treatment strategies on the right in an IVF situation. You have at least 5-6 protocols that we use in patient depending on their AMH and AFC. We can use certain medication. Sometimes we use Lupron, the same Lupron that we treat patient with pelvic pain, to quiet down the ovaries before stimulation, and then starting stimulation at the same time so we don't have a large endometrioma, we don't have a dominant follicle that's going to reduce the chance of getting pregnant. There's a straight correlation between how many eggs we obtain in the retrieval, whether it's for egg freezing or IVF, and the likelihood of conceiving. Next slide. This is a very good slide that basically shows that there's a decline in fertility already at age 30. Even before that, we know that the best chance of getting pregnant is really in the early 20s. We know that at age 37, 38, the significant decline is starting to be presented. At age 38, when we do IVF, 50% of the embryos will be abnormal. 50%. So even though life expectancy, is about mid-70s nowadays, 72, 74, we know that the women were not tuned or were not designed to get pregnant at age 50 or 60. Just 150 years ago, before antibiotics and vaccination, women and men died in their 40s and 50s, right? So definitely now we're trying to challenge the medical field by pushing it. And we have patients now in their 40s and even 50s that are pregnant, whether it's donor egg or their egg. It's a different story, but we can basically bypass a lot of those challenges that nature gives us. So the earlier, the better. That's what this slide is showing, because on average, women will go into menopause at age 51 in the US. Next slide. So this is what I started talking about, the aneuploidy rate. What is aneuploidy rate? That means how many of the embryos that are derived from the eggs will be abnormal. Down syndrome, trisomy 16, 18, Turner syndrome, meaning an increased risk for a miscarriage, increased risk for abnormal embryo that may need to be terminated or is essentially delivered and have special needs. So we know that at age 25, the likelihood is 1 in about 500. At age 35, it goes down to 1 in 178.